Today, I want to save you some big money. Stay tuned. A friend once told me I had the most expensive hobby in the world was sewing. Really? It hadn't occurred to me, but at the prices of things today, I guess it can be true. However, in this video, I am going to give you tips to turn that tide around. You will save money not only in your sewing, but through your sewing. So, 10 tips. Here we go. Number 1, free patterns are everywhere. Sewing patterns can be so costly. Fortunately, there are many free patterns on the internet. Most of the independent pattern designers feature a small number of free offerings. Many times you have to join their Facebook group or sign up for their newsletter or something, but most of these patterns are great enough that they're worth the effort. I'm always looking for contributions to my list of free patterns. I will start a thread on the Dorothy's Daughter community, and please feel free to put your contributions to the list there. I hope to grow the list and maybe make it an evergreen resource. Number 2, once in a while you will find fabric at a thrift store. However, even more fun is to buy some larger sizes to repurpose. You can look for bed sheets or bedspreads. Also pay attention to anything with belts or buckles or any hardware that you can repurpose. Look at purses and bags that have cute hardware that you can sometimes repurpose those into new bags. So think about more than just fabric. Number 3, sew your gifts. Sewing gifts is a great way to save money. This is true, especially small baby items or children's clothing or bags, since these can sometimes be made from scraps and remnants of other projects. I'm often sewing something for my grandchildren that was left over from something I made myself, and they love it. They love matching Grammys. Always check your scraps first. Number 4, watch for Facebook Marketplace and garage sales. A lot of times people buy a fabric stash and they either don't have time to sew anymore, or someone leaves a legacy of fabric behind that the loved ones don't know what to do with. I once purchased a bin of fabric from Facebook Marketplace that was $10, and I am still making projects from that years later. I mean, I'm talking this was 4 or 5 years ago. Definitely watch Facebook Marketplace and your garage sales nearby. Number 5, fabric warehouses. This is my favorite way to save money. If you're fortunate enough to live near a fabric warehouse outlet, or you can drive to one, you can find incredible deals. And yes, it's worth a day trip, maybe even an overnight trip. The key is that you need to know your typical amounts for the things you make when you go. So, for example, I always buy 2 yards for a top, 3.5 for a dress, and 2.5 for pants. And this is going to vary depending on your size and the type of patterns that you like. But if you know what works for you, then you will go armed with that information to make smart purchases and then not end up with a piece of fabric that isn't large enough to do what you want with it. Number 6, and this one I think is the most important and one we often overlook, keeping a list of wardrobe items you need and trying to stick to sewing those things on the list. It takes a lot of discipline, and I am so guilty, but it can really pay off in the long run if you know exactly what you need and can just budget your time as well. Number 7, one of the biggest expenditures for women is undergarments. Sewing your own panties is so easy, and they can be made from knit scraps. I have a drawer in this dresser behind me that I throw knit scraps into to be turned into undergarments. There's some great patterns out there. I like the Kiki pattern from Sinclair and also the Feel Frisky Briefs pattern from Ellie and Mac. I will put both of those links in the description. And definitely, if you have not sewn your own undies, you need to do that because it saves you a ton of money. I will also link a video that I made called Icy London, Icy France about sewing your own undies some time ago. Number 8, catalog your patterns and fabric. How many times have you walked into a store to gather things for a project and then realized you already had it? Wow, when you get home, you go, why did I buy that? There are many systems out there for organizing collections, and a lot of them are cost-free. I have a video I will link in the description of my favorite ways that I catalog things. Number 9, organize your notions. So the same goes with notions. It's so easy to buy things you already have. So I love my pegboard that my hubby made me for this purpose, and I will link a video that he helped me make showing how to create a beautiful pegboard for your sewing area. And also buy those notions in bulk because you can save a lot of money on Amazon if you buy a lot of purse hardware, for example, or buttons or anything that you use a lot of. Buy them in bulk and organize them on your pegboard. Number 10, finally, and I'm giving you permission to stash up. I used to buy fabric project by project, but you know what? Fabric I wanted was never on sale. So I soon began to see how expensive sewing really can be. So now I watch for sales from my favorite stores and I visit warehouses, and when there's a sale, I grab it then. Keeping a list of wardrobe items you need or gifts coming up really helps you stay tuned into what you need to buy for your stash and what you'll actually use. I have a huge stash of fabric, and I almost never order or shop project by project. Once my husband was laid off 3 times in 5 years during the pandemic and everything, and I never stopped sewing. I had my stash and I just happily kept making Christmas gifts and everything for our grandchildren. It really helped, let me tell you. So here is a wrap up of the 10 tips. Number 1, free patterns. They're out there. Number 2, thrift stores. Fun, fun, fun. Number 3, sewing gifts. Number 4, garage sales, Facebook Marketplace. Number 5, fabric warehouses. Number 6, planning ahead. Not always our forte in the creative world, but we need to do it. Number 7, sew your own undies. Number 8, catalog your fabric and pattern stash. Number 9, organize your notions. And number 10, stash up. All right, hopefully this has been helpful to keep your sewing expenses down and add to your wardrobe and gifting at a lower cost. Please consider subscribing or giving me a thumbs up on this video if it's been valuable to you. That's it for today. I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to hold your loved ones close because life is short. Happy sewing.